Hey everyone, it's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today's Friday, June 16th. Happy Friday, and I hope you're doing well. In this video, I've got an exciting one for you today. This is a must-watch all the way to the end. We've got some new information with regards to BlackRock and even more developments with regards to their Bitcoin ETF. Got some exciting new articles that I want to share with you, and it does increase the odds that we could potentially see them as the first one to get an approved spot Bitcoin ETF in the US. Before we get to it though, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. As I mentioned, this isn't new information. We know that BlackRock is the largest asset manager on the planet, huge heavyweight, and they're already getting into the space with this trust, but they're going to be looking to create a spot Bitcoin ETF. So sort of following in the footsteps of the Grayscale model. And I do think that there's a very high probability of this getting passed, but let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Before we get to it, I do want to say thank you to the community, getting very close to 500,000 views on the channel. Couldn't have done it with each and every one of you. Love you all from the bottom of my heart. Really do appreciate that. But moving on here, here's the original article from Yahoo News. So BlackRock tries force Bitcoin spot ETF with fresh filing, and it's saying that it's trying to get its hand into potentially getting its first spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund launched in the US. So it just means, if you're not sure what an ETF is, it's kind of like the S&P 500 SPY. It's just an index, and it's going to be trading on the NYSE or the NASDAQ, right? It's going to be on a US major exchange, and people will be able to buy it on any kind of broker that they're already on, right? So wherever they trade their existing stocks, they'll be able to do that inside of registered accounts as well. But the world's largest asset manager on Thursday applied for the iShares Bitcoin Trust, according to a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Coinbase Global Inc., the biggest crypto exchange in the U.S., would act as the custodian. The ETF, should it launch, would trade on the NASDAQ. So there you go. So it'll be on the NASDAQ, and it's going to be an ETF, meaning you'll be able to trade it over that exchange, the NASDAQ, and you'll be able to do so as long as the NASDAQ is open, right? Monday to Friday, you'll be able to trade that ETF. Then this would bring, obviously, hundreds of billions, if not trillions, of dollars into the space. But one thing I'm a little skeptical here about is the fact that Coinbase is being sued by the SEC right now. So the fact that they're putting Coinbase as the crypto exchange and the custodian, I'm a little concerned about that. Just because, like I said, there might be some scrutiny and some uncertainty with regards to the court and the case right now with regards to Coinbase. So I do think that hurts their chances a little bit. I would have rather liked to see a different custodian there, but I mean, Coinbase, they are publicly traded, they're very transparent, and they have to do those quarterly filings and make all of their documents and statements and financials all public. So it is good that they're a publicly traded company, though I would add that, but a little concerned about the fact that they're under an SEC lawsuit here at the moment. But I want to bring up this Finbold article here. So BlackRock's record of ETFs approved by the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, is 575 to 1. So this increases the odds dramatically. And I've even got something else that I want to show you here after this article that increases the odds furthermore from what we're at right now, because this is looking good. The fact that I saw Coinbase there, I was a little skeptical, but now we're starting to see more and more information here that's pointing in the favor of this potentially getting approved. And as we know, BlackRock is part of the incumbents in the traditional finance world. So the fact that all of these other ETFs are getting denied, and then BlackRock comes in right in the nick of time, right as Coinbase is under a lawsuit, as we could potentially see some rules from Congress and things like that, some case law with the Ripple case potentially ending as well. And the Hinman documents that were released, that does help, in my opinion, Coinbase and Binance's stance and their case, and Grayscale as well. And then obviously, if Grayscale wins in its fight against the SEC, we could see multiple ETFs approved, which would be huge and massively bullish for the space, and something that a lot of people would see coming. But this is massively bullish, and then I've got another massively bullish article that I want to share with you here after this. So after a surprising twist in the cryptocurrency community saw the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, file for a spot Bitcoin ETF, the public has learned about its impressive record of ETF approvals. As it happens, BlackRock's record for United States Securities and Exchange Commission approving its ETFs is a 575 to 1, which Bloomberg's senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas says was another reason for this is so big they don't play around, right? And I would have to agree. In other words, the regulatory watchdog had already approved 575 of BlackRock's ETFs, denying only one in October 2014, when the company saw permission to create actively managed ETFs that would not require disclosures of holdings on a daily basis. Meanwhile, the recent moves arrives at an unfavorable time for cryptocurrencies in the US as SEC has multiple filing lawsuits against major businesses in the crypto field. So exactly, I just read that part here now, and I would agree that's something that I was speculating and a little concerned about as well, skeptical on that front. Interestingly, though, the custodian for the planned Bitcoin trust is none other than Coinbase, the crypto exchange currently under the SEC's offensive. So exactly what I was thinking. The fact that that could hurt, that could be one of the reasons why this doesn't get approved. But just because it doesn't get approved on the first notion doesn't mean that they may not get approved in the future as well. But 575 to 1, I would say the odds are looking pretty good. But then, like I said, the only thing I'm concerned about is that they're under a SEC lawsuit. But this is making the case look a lot more probability, moving the probability in favor of this getting approved. And then something else I want to show here as well is from CoinDesk. BlackRock may have found a way to get SEC approval for its spot Bitcoin ETF. Let me give you the details. The hedge fund included a surveillance sharing agreement in its proposal, which could eliminate the risk of market manipulation related to Bitcoin. And as we know, most of the reasons why the ETFs in the past from other filings and other applicants is because of the fact that it was, there was a lot of manipulation concerns. So the fact that BlackRock has taken the initiative and made this potential proposal is looking really, really good. So BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust application to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission this week might stand as a better chance than previous attempts by other fund managers thanks to the promise of surveillance sharing agreement between exchanges. On page 36 of the NASDAQ, where the proposed ETF will be listed, 19B-4 filing, it stated that to mitigate against market manipulation, the NASDAQ will be brought in to enter into a surveillance sharing agreement with an operator of a spot trading platform for Bitcoin. Surveillance sharing agreements allow for the sharing of information about market trading, activity, clearing activity, and customer identification, allowing for little possibility of market manipulation. NASDAQ's proposed surveillance sharing agreement, dubbed the Spot BTC SSA, is what makes the application different and not simply the company's size as the largest asset manager in the world, said Graham Moore, head of tokenization and Polymesh Association. The SEC is very concerned about market manipulation related to Bitcoin prices and has cited this in almost, if not all, previous rejections, as I mentioned, right? So that's a big concern. Moore said in an emailed statement, this is because the SEC's view is that Coinbase and others are not regulated as exchanges and therefore cannot be trusted to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices. So again, while they're adding this agreement manipulation proposal, again, the fact that they're using Coinbase as the custodian, so I don't know. I'm undecided. Let me know in the comments below if you think if this has a real chance in passing. The more I read, though, the more I think on and read on, I'm thinking that this probably won't get passed on the first attempt. However, industry veteran Dave Weisberger, CEO and co-founder of CoinRoutes, countered that any such surveillance sharing agreement is superfluous. So why should it be necessary? Weisberger said in an interview with CoinDesk, because Kraken, Coinbase, Itbit, LMAX, Bitstamp, all of their data feeds are public, he added. The SEC could clearly get all of this data and hire someone to feed it to them. You can know every trade and every order, and that will give the SEC the ability to say, hey, this looks like a manipulated trade, so who did it, right? So just some transparency into that. But the SEC has previously highlighted the importance of surveillance sharing agreements in a notice in January regarding CBOE digital request to list and trade shares of ARK, 21 shares Bitcoin ETF, agency official said in the exchange that lists Bitcoin-based ETPs can meet its obligations under the Exchange Act section by demonstrating that the exchange has a comprehensive surveillance sharing agreement with a regulated market and significant size related to the underlying or referenced Bitcoin assets. BlackRock's iShares filed paperwork with the SEC on Thursday afternoon for the formation of the spot Bitcoin ETF. The move comes after several other ETF proposals, including those of Grayscale, VanEck, and WisdomTree, have been previously rejected. So again, wouldn't it be crazy to see this get approved? One of the incumbents, right, the largest asset manager in the planet, but again, 575 to 1, and they have this new this surveillance and manipulation approach. We'll see. And then also BlackRock Bitcoin ETF might pave the way for proof of stake fork. So we could be joining Ethereum. We'll see. This is interesting as well. But seasoned cryptocurrency advocate and expert Chris Bleck published an eccentric theory about the true motivation behind the launch of BlackRock Bitcoin-based ETF. However, one statement said in BlackRock's filing might prove this theory. So proof of stake for regulators, proof of work for El Salvador. Chris Bleck shares counterintuitive take on BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. So BlackRock, a 10 trillion investing heavyweight, might be requesting Bitcoin ETF approval, being interested in supporting a proof of stake fork. Its hypothetical proof of stake network, developed as an example of eco-friendliness and regulatory compliance, might lead BlackRock's dominance in the Bitcoin segment. But one thing that the SEC has said as well is that proof of stake and Ethereum could be a security. So this could come with some regulatory scrutiny as well. But interesting enough nonetheless, right? So again, I was a little bit hopeful at the beginning of this video, but the more I think about it, the more that I read on, the fact that Coinbase is the custodian there, and there's some scrutiny with regards to that, and they're currently under a lawsuit, definitely leaves me a little bit skeptical, and more questions left unanswered. So again, I would say it's about a 50-50% chance, but my gut feelings tell me that it probably won't get passed this time around, but maybe in the future. But like I said, definitely BlackRock seems to have the best odds at this point. But let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. We'll continue the conversation there. Thanks again for joining us in the Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rob with Powell Group. We'll see you in the next video.